Kim here from CustomDollBaby.com. Welcome back to another episode of Reborn with me. Well, we have finally finished our rooting journey on Alissa Beth. She has a head full of hair, and now we're going to take care of some of those final details. Alissa Beth was an exciting and pretty intense rooting project because she has several different colors of mohair on her head. So the base color of her hair is ash blonde. Her highlights are auburn. And the ash blonde and auburn is getting really bright for me. So I made an executive decision to base it with some light brown. This light brown has a kind of a nice property where it's somewhere in between the red and the blonde. So I just wanted the hair to look a little bit heavier and a little bit fuller. And that was the incorporation of the light brown. And then we had the peach fuzz, which was blonde. So this doll has 4 different colors of mohair all on her head. I've done highlights before in the past, but I've never done 4 different colors. That was pretty intense, but it came out really nice. So she has her peach fuzz on the side. You can just barely see it there. It's very pretty. And definitely check out the Along You Go tutorial for more information on how we did that. She has her swirl just as we drew it. I left the hair a little bit long-ish in the back because the blonde and the auburn, I mean, they were just looking so light, and I just wanted to fill it in a little more. And length is a really good way to create fullness. Very pretty hair. And she's got this nice full area on top. I don't know how well this comes through on the camera, but one thing that's really neat about the highlights is the hair changes color depending on how you comb it. So when you comb it this way, it looks more blonde. When you comb it this way, it looks more red. So it's just fun. Okay, so now that she's all rooted, we're ready to take care of some finishing details. Namely, we're going to seal the rooting so it doesn't pull out. If you haven't done your glazing yet, this would be a good time to get ready to do that. We're going to add our eyelashes. And she already has rooted eyebrows, so I kind of went ahead and snuck that in there because blonde hair is very difficult to see. So she has eyebrows in ash blonde. And I have an eyebrow rooting tutorial that you should definitely check out where I was rooting a toddler baby with black eyebrows. So that is both bigger and darker and easier to see on so many levels. It's a 2-part video, so definitely check that out for more info on how we rooted her eyebrows. And because I rooted her eyebrows after the hair was done, I'm not going to use the thick medium. I'm going to use hair gel to keep them neat. They're rooted very flat. They're rooted to lay flat, so they shouldn't be fly away and giving your mommy a lot of trouble. Alright, so let's do some gluing. Before you glue, well, okay, first of all, when I glue, I like to do 3 things all at the same time. So I like to seal the hair, I like to set the eyes, and I like to add all of my magnets. So if we're doing pacify or anything like that, I want to do all of that at once so all that glue can dry at the same time. And then I don't have to spend a lot of time waiting for each piece to dry on its own. So first thing we need to do is make sure that we're satisfied with the placement of the eyes. In order to set the eyes to ensure that the baby is looking at you as opposed to being cross-eyed, is to use light to ensure that the eyes are both pointing in the same direction. This is a trick from the Bountiful Baby tutorial that I've been using for years and years and years. So what you're going to need is a point source of light, single bulb, preferably a bright light, preferably a relatively close light. You want to center the doll under that light and then see where the light is being reflected in the eyes. If the light is being reflected at the same spot on each eye, then you know that the doll is looking straight. She's looking in a direction, or at least looking in the same direction. So on this eye, but it's going to be a mirror reflection. So on this eye, the light is kind of at like 11:30, almost 12 o'clock. In this eye, it's the mirror image of that, so it's like 12:30. right closer to the 1 o'clock side. So as long as they're at the same point, mirror image of each other, then you know that your doll is looking straight. And this may be obvious to you, but I'll also mention if you want the baby focusing on an object that is close, you want the eyes to point more towards each other. If you want the baby to look straight ahead, you want the iris to be more centered. Right, the baby can look up, left, right. So you can move the eyeballs around in the socket to get the expression that you want. I try to have my babies looking at the mommy. So when the doll is in your arms, it should be making eye contact with you. So it's kind of nice. So that's usually my goal when I'm setting the eyes. So these are looking pretty good. So we're ready to move on to our next step. If you're still not certain that the doll is looking straight at an object, it's also very helpful to hold the doll at different angles from yourself, to take pictures of the face at different angles, and to make sure that the eyes are pointing in the direction of the head. Make sure it looks like she's looking at something. You can also put objects in front of the doll so you can see at what distance she's looking at something. And basically just keep manipulating the head until you're comfortable with how far away she's looking and confident that her vision is straight. So now we're ready to start gluing. You will need gym tack or a similar flexible, permanent, waterproof adhesive. You will need the pacifier that you're intending to use with your doll. If you don't have the exact pacifier yet, because maybe you're gonna make it yourself, make sure you have the magnet that you're gonna put in the pacifier, as well as the magnet that you're gonna put in the head. You're gonna need some hemostats. Mine are super gross from doing this process a lot. And you're gonna need a cosmetic wedge. I also find it very useful to use my rooting bowl when I'm gluing because it helps to hold the head in random positions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put some glue inside the head. I don't actually use the nozzle because it's, very prone to clog, so I'll just screw it off and pour some glue into the head. Or drizzle, I guess is a more appropriate term. Try to get all around the hair. I'm gonna get the eyes. So where we cut the eyes, I'm gonna try to hit that spot. And also if you did eyebrows, rooted eyebrows, or rooted anything else, you wanna make sure that there's glue on or near those surfaces. Once you're done pouring the glue, be sure to wipe it off so it won't stick to your cap. We're inside the head. You can see I was able to hit the eye socket, so right where the eye sockets were cut, I managed to drop some glue over those areas, and I have some glue drizzled around where the hair is rooted and where I'm going to put the magnet. So now I'm going to take the hemostats. I'm going to fold up my cosmetic wedge, just fold it in half and clip it, and use these notches on the handle to hold it in place. And this is going to be kind of like our paintbrush. We're going to use it to smear the glue around. Now the hair is blonde, it's very light, it's difficult to see. So there is another demonstration where I'm working with black hair, or at least dark brown hair. So you'll have a much easier time seeing how that looks on the inside of the scalp. So I'm just rubbing this around, gluing the hairs to each other as well as to the vinyl. Okay, make sure you get all down the neckline to wherever you rooted hair. You want to make sure you saturate that area with glue. If you feel like you need more glue, feel free to pour some in there. This is always kind of gross, so you will pull out some hairs. Some glues are worse than others, so with E6000, I've heard that there's a lot of hair that tends to get ripped out during the sealing process. The gym tack is not so bad, but it's kind of gross. So you can see where I've been smearing the glue around. If you are going to have a magnet for a hair bow, now would be a really good time to drop that magnet where you want the hair bow. And I am ready to drop the magnet for my pacifier. So first of all, I want to make sure I've got some glue behind the mouth. So I have some, but I can always add a little bit more. And my little trick is that I'll take the pacifier or the magnet and place it on the lips where I want it to sit. Okay. Just gonna drop it in. And as you can see, it landed right where that pacifier is. Ta-da! So that's fun, right? Because that could be something that you'd have to fight quite a lot, and it's not so bad. If the doll has a funny shaped face or a funny shaped mouth, like a slightly open mouth or something, I'll probably do a custom pacifier. But when I don't have to, I love to use Sandy's pacifiers, which I regret having moved that because my magnet just fell off. Let me shake it in there again. There we go. I like to use Sandy's pacifiers. They're very neat and nice looking, and the magnets are covered with plastic, and it just looks very professional, very good. So I'll use hers where I can. So the magnet's in there. So now I'm going to add some more glue on top of that magnet to really ensure that it's not going anywhere. Now, be mindful of the fact that I want to keep the pacifier or the magnet that I'm going to use for the pacifier in place as long as the glue is wet. So this is what's going to hold that magnet for you. Otherwise, while the glue is drying, it can creep around inside the head and end up in a place where you don't really want the pacifier to stick. So it's good to have something, either the pacifier or the magnet that you're going to use in the pacifier, that's holding the magnet from the outside so it doesn't go wandering around the inside of the head while the doll is drying. Just gonna grab that. Ew, gross. Okay. When you finish gluing, go ahead and remove the cosmetic wedge from your hemostats and wipe them off if it's not already too late for that, so it'll be ready for the next project.
Yeah.